Chapter 2. Little Bird Part 1. Bedsheets fly off a bed as a small figure enthusiastically jumps out. A young girl, no more than 8 years old, brushes her messy brown morning hair back, allowing her to actually see now. Much better. She takes a look around the very small room containing a bed, wardrobe, and a desk. Not much, but it has everything she would realistically need. She moves to the window to draw open the curtains, but hisses as the morning sunlight hits her eyes. Maybe it's a little too early for that. Closed curtains it is, then. As she begins getting dressed for the day, footsteps outside the door draw closer and closer until the door to the room opens. A middle-aged woman, hair tied in a bun, pokes her head inside. "Katori, time to." "Oh, you're already up. Good morning. If you're ready, be a dear and round up the other kids, will you?" Katori plops on a shirt and turns around. "Good morning, Miss Sheena." "Will do." Sheena smiles. "Thanks. And don't forget to brush your teeth." She heads back outside and closes the door. Waking up more or less finished, Katori ties her hair back in a ponytail, 2 strands of hair falling to the sides, framing her face. She makes her way outside to the corridor, a series of doors lining it. Katori would eventually make her way through each room, making sure each child is ready to greet the morning. Sheena and the rest did an amazing job and were loved by everyone, but running the Kusatsu town orphanage was tough work, so many children took leading roles and acted as big brothers and sisters, even if they were technically younger. Katori was one such child, eagerly assisting where she can, waking up the rest, fixing up snacks, doing laundry. It's the least she could do, and it was a lot of fun too. So it evened out. She eventually makes her way to the dining hall, surrounded by an army of children who rush off to specific chairs as they each seem to have their own assigned spot. Katori looks to Sheena, who's behind a bar along with 2 other women, preparing the meals for each of them. And there's a lot of them. "Rascals are all present and accounted for, Miss Sheena." She gives a mock salute. Sheena chuckles from behind the bar. "Thank you, Katori. Can always count on you." Katori gives a grin. "Always. I'll go outside for a bit, keep my breakfast warm for me." "Don't take too long." The older woman calls out, but the young girl is already out the door. The orphanage was not a large one by any means, but provided enough for the children. That included a playground area, which would soon become a war zone once breakfast has been had. So before that happens, Katori wants the place to herself. She needs to focus. She sits on the grass and closes her eyes. She brings her hands in front of her to form a hand seal, pinky and index fingers stretched upward, fingertips touching, with the middle and ring fingers curled on the insides. The bird seal. She exhales deeply and grunts continuously. It doesn't actually do anything to help, but it feels like it does, so she does it anyway. Focus. 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 She feels a tiny spike in her chakra and opens her eyes excitedly, only to find a feather falling to the ground. Katori frowns. Just another useless feather again. She grabs it from the air and clenches her fist. Through gritted teeth, she says, "Why do I have this useless jutsu? Why can't I figure it out?" She throws the feather aside and breathes in. Right. Again. She forms a series of random hand seals, hoping desperately that this time something other than a feather will appear. After minutes of fruitless attempts of only summoning feathers, she huffs and frustratedly falls back on the grass with a thud. Some of her feathers are blown away, only to return and fall on her nose, causing her to sneeze. "Bless you." She hears steps approaching her and looks behind her to see a young man, around 18 years old, wearing plain clothing. "Hey, kiddo. Hard at work?" Katori smiles widely and hops to her first, hugging the man around the waist, which is as high as she can reach. "Takeo. You're visiting today?" He returns the hugs. "Yup. It's my day off, so I'm helping Miss Sheena. And maybe have time to play around after." "Yay. Then you can come watch me try my jutsu. I haven't gotten far, but I can make more feathers than before. So that's something." She looks down, knowing her words are mostly to reassure herself that she's making progress. She feels a hand ruffle her hair and looks up to a smiling Takeo. "Of course it is. You keep that up and you'll make a fine shinobi in no time." The 2 of them walk inside the orphanage together. From the shadows of the nearby trees, a figure watches intently. He hums from under his oni mask. A unique chakra, to be sure. Untrained, but unique. Just as he's about to flicker away to find his partner, he feels chakra tingling by his side. He sits down, back pressed against a tree, and takes out a scroll and some writing utensils. Opening the scroll, it's blank, but when he brings his hand to form a one-handed seal, writing springs into existence. Mizushi, report. The man takes the brush and writes a reply. Please refer to me as Barusa when on missions. It helps me remain in character. You don't have a character. Is Fudo any closer to finishing the curse? The 3 villages have already sent people. Kusatsu will be swarmed in a day or 2. He claims to be close and needs more unique chakra to finish it. However, I am not certain that he can accomplish this in time if shinobi have already set out. Do you see any merit in continuing? You're the one at the scene. If you think it's a lost cause, leave. There's no point in risking discovery. I believe I'll stay as long as I can. There's actually one thing I wish to make certain of. Fudo and his patchwork Jashinist remnants may not work for our cause, but there's someone else who might. We leave it to you. Just be aware the Hidden Leaf set out sooner, and they've sent their Jinchuriki and a Hyuga. They may be close already. Fudo looks southwest, where the Hidden Leaf is. Didn't Itsu go? Oh, dear. He quickly jots down, I must go. And rolls up the scroll, flickering in the direction of the leaf. Naruto POV. Naruto and Hinata are sitting beside the road, taking a break from their long trip. It's about half a day before they reach Kusatsu town, and they're ahead of schedule. The Cloud and Hot Waters shinobi aren't due until tomorrow, so they had time to spare. Hinata was taking this time, much to Naruto's dismay, to teach him. An open book in her hand, she was quizzing her boyfriend on the various techniques, strategies, and disciplines that shinobi must know if they're to advance in the ranks. Naruto had had enough. Why do I have to do this even while on a mission? He protests by lying face first on the ground after absorbing too much information. You have to. I promised Kakashi-sensei and Iruka-sensei to make sure you keep studying so you can make Jonin when we get back. And it's good for me, as well, if I want to become one. She gives what Naruto considers a too cheerful smile given the subject is learning. Although it's a cute smile, so he doesn't mind. A slimy hand pats Naruto on the head. He lifts it to be met with another one who's been assigned to be a pain in his ass. A green toad about the size of a house cat. You gotta keep at it, kid. I believe in you. Not just Hinata, but you too, Gamashi. He plants his face into the ground again, protesting, before his mood turns serious. Someone's watching. Hey, Hinata. He says softly. I know. She responds quietly, before continuing in a normal voice. Well, then shall we continue? We have a long journey ahead of us. Another day's travel, and then we'll have our next lesson. The 2 of them pack their things in their backpacks once again, while Gamashi dismisses himself back to Mount Myaboku. They take to the trees. So does their pursuer. They share a passing glance as they sense they're being followed. Suddenly, the presence shifts. It's right behind them. From their peripheral vision, they see long red hair weaving through the air as their assailant moves right behind them with a kunai. Under normal circumstances, it would be too late. For normal shinobi, this would be the end. Mid-air, with no place to maneuver, they'd both already gathered chakra in their hands in anticipation. They overlap their hands. A spinning sphere appears, growing in size, surrounded by a glowing aura in the shape of a lion. The sound of raw chakra gathering almost resembles a roar. Spiraling lion fist. The chakra surges forward, covering a great area. The nearby trees are blown away. Naruto and Hinata land on the ground, waiting for the dust and debris to settle. As it does, they see the figure that attacked them. Her right sleeve is torn off, and her arm damaged. Her hair was also caught in the blast. But she's still standing. So you noticed me. Hinata activates her Byakugan and takes a battle stance. You did well in hiding yourself. Naruto forms his signature hand seal and summons 2 shadow clones. We're just better. The woman's eyes widen. Byakugan? You're a Hyuga. Here. Severe anger is visible on her face. I'll fucking kill you. She throws multiple kunai. Naruto and his clones rush towards the projectiles. From the back, Hinata thrusts her hands forward, causing a gust of wind to knock the weapons to the side, clearing a path of Naruto. Gentle fist, vacuum palm, Hinata notices them coated in blood, even though no one's been injured. Poison is understandable, but blood? The Redeed simply smirks. You conceited brat. As if that's enough. She tugs at the air and the weapons change their trajectory. Threads. They're sent flying to the blonde caught in the middle of them. The clones are dispersed, and in the smoke she takes advantage of Naruto being blinded to rush to Hinata. She sends another wave of kunai. Hinata gathers chakra around her entire body and spins, sending out her chakra around to shield her as she does. Gentle fist. Vacuum palm. The kunai are blown away again, but some were at an odd angle. They were blown not away from her, but above her to her sides. More strings? Hinata glances down to the kunai and notices they're also blood-coated and attached to string. Whatever happens, she can't let those scratch her. Are you responsible for the disappearing shinobi? She steps back to get away from the kunai. You'll find out when you die. The woman shouts, her anger only increasing as she looks at the Hyuga. As she's about to tug at the strings, she hears a voice from behind. That doesn't even make sense. She glances back and is met by the blonde, except his eyes are now yellow with horizontal slits, orange markings on his corner. Before she can react, he goes to strike her in the sides, but his hand stops short of actually hitting her. Did he miss? Why? Sage art, frog strike. She's sent flying into a tree with immense force, even though there was no contact. She coughs up blood. You have a Dojutsu too? She asks with a pained voice. Not exactly. Now are you gonna answer? Is it you? Naruto begins walking over. The woman looks up and once she gets a better look at Naruto, she scoffs and tugs at a thread. It's covered in blood, just like the kunai. Hinata gasps as she gets a better look at Naruto. It's small, but he was wounded in the initial assault. And there's more blood on the thread than his wound would suggest. He was injected. Naruto, wait. I didn't get the Hyuga, but you look like you'll do just fine. She weaves a hand seal. Her eye bleeds. Naruto braces himself for whatever's about to happen. Veins seem to pop as her eyes gradually begin to redden. Almost glowing, even Ketsu. Water style, water dragon bullet. She's interrupted by a surging of water. A giant liquid serpentine creature comes from behind her and envelops the area in front where Naruto and Hinata are. A man flickers in front of the injured woman. Don't be rash, Itsu. What the fuck do you think you're doing, Barusa? Itsu screams at him. Stopping you from making a mistake. The masked man responds calmly as he weaves another set of seals. Water style. Steed puller. Strands of water emerge from the dragon directly towards Naruto and Hinata. They're beset by water from all directions and pulled to the center with a crushing force. Another set of seals, all done with great speed, to not give his opponents enough time. Water style, water prison. The dragon's size becomes smaller and spherical, pulling Naruto and Hinata to its center. Even from outside, it's visible how the water pressure is pushing them from both sides, crushing them at its core. It would take more than this to stop those two, and Mizushi knew it. Judging from her actions, Itsu doesn't realize who's in front of her, and that would have cost her dearly. He bites his finger and smears the blood on his palm before he begins weaving yet another set of seals. But during that, Naruto and Hinata were already beginning to escape. This would come down to the second. With their bodies restrained, normal jutsu doesn't work. You can't move your hands well enough to form the seals, but they have other means. In both of Naruto's hands, spherical chakra forms fighting the raging waters of the water prison. But the Rasengan is stronger, and this is no mere Rasengan. It's a more powerful version and will break through. Similarly, chakra gathers around Hinata's entire body. The Hyuga are able to exert chakra from any part of their body, although the hands are the easiest to do, and the method any Hyuga is required to learn. Other body parts require more training, and the entire body? Even more so. She's still in the middle of training, but has no other choice. He chakra bursts forth. Gentle fist, body blow. Sage art, twin great Rasengan. The water prison bursts from the sheer power. The water falls like a shower. Mizushi is halfway through his seals. Naruto recognizes exactly what it is. A jutsu he's used plenty of times, but the seals are backwards. Used not for summoning something to yourself, but summoning yourself to something. A way to escape. They fall down and the moment their feet touch solid ground, Naruto rushes forward. He can't let them get away. Mizushi finishes his seals and slams his palm on the ground. Naruto is mere centimeters away. Seals cover the ground directly under Mizushi's palm. Naruto's fingers are a second away from grabbing the man by the mask. Not quite. Ninja art, reverse summoning. A puff of smoke is blasted in Naruto's face. He closes his eyes and mouth, but continues forward. He grabs the space where the masked man just was. Nothing. Naruto stops in the middle of the area and swings his arm. The sheer force sends the smoke flying away. Damn it. Naruto curses. He looks around, not at anything specific. It's almost like he's looking beyond what he can see. I don't sense them anywhere. Hinata walks over. And I can't see them either. We should hurry to Kusatsu and await the others. Yeah. Looks like we already know the culprits. That woman seemed to really hate you, Hinata. Do you know her? She shakes her head. No, I've never seen her. And that worries me more. Putting that to the side for when they have more time. They're on to Kusatsu. Mizushi POV. Mizushi and Itsu appear atop a water tower in the middle of a town. Itsu immediately goes to punch her partner. Her wound flares up, and she doesn't quite put as much force as she wanted to behind her, but Mizushi doesn't even make an attempt to move. She punches the side of his head so she can actually hit him, and not the mask. He flinches slightly at the impact. You fuck. What were you thinking, interfering? She grabs him by the collar. He doesn't react. I told you, you think just because we're working for the same wacko, that doesn't mean you can just jump and teleport me away. We're not friends, and I don't need you to do shit. Letting her vent, he places his hand atop of hers as a sign to let go of his shirt. She does so in a less than peaceful manner, shoving him back. You're correct, friends, we are not. However, the person you attacked was no ordinary shinobi. He is the Jinchuriki of the Nine-Tailed Fox and the hero of the Fourth War. What? That guy was? Mizushi nods in response. He is not easily defeated. And even if he were, he has another purpose to serve. Itsu gets right in his face. Don't tell me who I can or can't beat. And what do you mean another purpose? A Jinchuriki's exactly what Fudo needs. You bastard, what are you planning? She squints her eyes at him. Are you gonna betray Fudo? Betray is such a strong word. To begin with, neither of us owes an allegiance to him, correct? Why would you care? Because if you drag down Fudo, you drag me down too, and I'll cut off your head before you can do that, got it? She drags a finger across his throat. Cut? Why result in something of that caliber when you seem to have a more unique method? You were about to show the Jinchuriki what you're yet to show me. My feelings are quite hurt. You bastard. If you plan on selling me out to Fudo, I'll kill you before you can even think it. Oh, not at all. My days would be quite dull if I did. My intent was not to threaten, but to offer a closer alliance. We've not trusted each other so far. So how about we start? I sense this to be a profitable partnership. Whatever. She brushes him off. You talk about partnership, or whatever you feel like later. Those two are probably coming here. They talked about having a long trip, but that was only after they apparently sensed me. A ruse. Don't interrupt me. Kusatsu town is the closest, so they're probably headed here. We need to tell Lord Fudo. Or we can deliver to him something that may assist with his project. There's a girl in the orphanage. She possesses a unique jutsu. Kekkei Genkai, I presume, although it's not one I've heard of. Her chakra should be potent, even if she herself is unskilled in using it. And if he completes his thing using her chakra, he can probably take on the Nine Tails. Unless you have other plans. Alright, let's go grab the kid. Itsu steps on the edge, ready to flicker further into the town. Please, no need to resort to such methods, it would attract even more unwanted attention. This is precisely why we have the mayor. If his mask didn't hide it, she'd be able to see a slight but sinister smile creep across his face. Mayor Tasaki is fidgeting in his room. Walking in circles, rearranging things that don't need to be rearranged. He's been getting nervous lately. When some rogue ninja came to Kusatsu and threatened to expose some dirty secrets, he had no choice but to agree when they asked for shelter. Anyone would do it, right? They'd be gone soon, anyway, right? They usually check in on him as a scare tactic to keep him in check. Except they haven't done it lately. Is that a good thing? Have they moved on? He stops his nervous pacing and looks out the window at Kusatsu town. He'd worked too hard to lose all of this. He sighs and closes his eyes. If only this problem would go away. When he opens his eyes, he sees the problem staring at him in the reflection. He screams an undignified yelp and presses himself against the glass. He didn't even hear them enter. What are you doing here? Greetings, Mayor Tasaki. We would like to adopt a child. Mizushi greets the mayor normally. Adopt? What? He looks between the two. Yes, we are deeply in love. And desire a daughter. Around 8 years old. Able to use jutsu. You wouldn't happen to know any who match the description? He leans down and inches his masked face closer to the mayor. The poor Tasaki gulps. Katori POV. By late afternoon, after a day of working at the orphanage, Katori and Takeo are out in the orphanage's yard with the young girl jumping in excitement. Miss Sheena is sitting on the wooden porch while other kids are running about and playing games as her colleagues try to make sure they don't hurt themselves or each other. All right, go stretch, I'll be with you in a bit. Takeo instructs the girl as he goes to stand by Sheena. I know she'll tell me she's fine, but how is she actually doing, Miss Sheena? The older woman sighs. She wouldn't tell me either, I'm afraid. She's been nothing but cheerful and energetic in front of us, but I wouldn't be surprised if she's growing discouraged. But I know, having you here helps her a lot. I can't thank you enough, Takeo. Oh, there's no need. Just because I don't live here anymore doesn't mean I'll cut off ties. You raised me, Miss Sheena, and so many others. It's the least I could do. He gives her a bright smile. Sheena truly felt blessed to have such wonderful children. Thank you. I'm done. Let's go. Katori calls out. Takeo chuckles and goes to her, taking a combat stance, which Katori imitates. He may be young, but Takeo is a Kusatsu town guard and knows a thing or two that he can teach. It takes some tries for Katori to properly imitate her elder and to correctly use them in a mock spar. But she was determined. Miss Sheena wasn't entirely sure about teaching the girl fighting techniques, and it took a lot of effort to convince the others not to learn too. But if Katori is to be a ninja, she'll need everything she can get. Typically, kids her age are already learning in a ninja academy, but they just don't have the means to send her. But maybe if she can prove herself, she'll be able to get in. Deep down, Sheena doubted whether it's possible, but wanted to keep hope. She's taken out of her musings of Katori's future by her and Takeo coming over to rest after finishing their training. Takeo is ever so slightly winded, while Katori is drenched in sweat. Sheena chuckles. All right, looks like it's the bath for you. Just as they're about to head inside, one of the carers at the orphanage finds them. Miss Sheena, there you are. Mayor Taseki is looking for you. The mayor? Whatever for? On cue, the portly mayor walks outside. What one usually goes to an orphanage for an adoption. He's quickly followed by a man dressed in ordinary clothes and vest, straight dark hair. Something about him is off-putting. He looks too stiff, and his eyes immediately focus on Katori. This gentleman would like to adopt Katori. He's a ninja and asks for any potential candidates to pass on his legacy to. Takeo looks excited. A ninja? That's awesome. Your dream can come true sooner than we thought, Katori. By all accounts, yes, this is more or less exactly what she dreamed about every day. This should be a cause for celebration. And yet it's not. This man's scary. There's a feeling of unease that she's never felt from anyone before. Her basic instincts are telling her to run. Sheena looks just as skeptical. She's seen so many people come and go over the years, but this person was different from all of them. His demeanor wasn't one of a person looking for a child, but the mayor is the one who brought him. Then let's go to my office to speak. Sheena wanted to get to know all potential adopters beforehand, see how capable they are of raising a child. She's done it with everyone. It was policy. That won't be necessary, Sheena. I'll take care of it personally. The mayor interjects. He's shifting in one place. He seems out of breath. Nervous. Barely even looking her in the eyes. Sir, it's proper procedure. She protests. The mayor snaps, which Sheena has never seen from him. I said I'll take care of it. The man steps closer to Katori and extends a hand. Come. The first word he'd uttered since making his presence known. Not even an introduction. Sheena protests again. It falls on deaf ears. The man's hand draws closer to Katori. She's scared. She wants to cry for help. Sheena. Takeo. Anyone. She can't find her voice. She feels like she's drowning. She doesn't want to go with this man. Her breath is shallow. She steps back and crosses her hands on her chest for comfort, holding her clothes tightly. The man approaches. Takeo is right next to her. She could grab on for dear life, but she just kept stepping back. The man is right next to her. He reached to grab her. No. 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 Katori closes her eyes in anticipation, now frozen in fear. Nothing. Except gasps of surprise. She opens an eye to see another man standing between her and the ninja who wanted to adopt her. His blonde hair sticks out like a sore thumb from his dark clothes and green flak jacket. But the most odd feature is his eyes. Yellow with horizontal slits. Orange markings around. The blonde looks at the frightened Katori and then back at the other man. Whatever you're thinking, forget it. End of chapter 2.